to do that. It worked. Okay, now we are good to get started. So, Courtney, if you'd like to go ahead with the chairperson updates.
Absolutely. So we'll start with my first fun point, which is tickets, everyone's favorite. Um, we have reached what is going to be our ticketing agreement for the 2026 year. After many back and forths with the FO about negotiating best pricing, not only for the organization, but for our members, as well as taking into effect the trends from this year and looking forward at what we anticipate to be a very crazy schedule with this little event called the World Cup interrupting the middle of our season. So we know there's going to be a lot of jam-packed at the beginning of the season and a lot of jam-packed at the end of the season, taking into account probably more weekday games, promotions that the club said that they would do at least, someone correct me if I'm wrong, at least 8 promotions
Correct.
where they would do ticket packages and concessions and all of that and competing with that. We did settle on a number of 150 tickets per game every year. Yes, that is down 50 from this year, but with all the determining factors that we had, that's what we thought was the best with the price point individual ticket that the FO was willing to give us as far as discounts. Does anyone not on the board have any questions about that? Don't raise your hands all at once, everyone. So don't everyone raise your hands at once. Okay. So that's that update for ticketing. Bethany, remind me, I apologize, I don't have the agenda right next to me. What was my other point?
Next point was the mission statement and vision statement.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. So we had another meeting this past Tuesday, so 2 days ago, with Paul Cochran. And if I'm saying that last name wrong, Paul, I apologize. But he has been guiding us in coming up with a mission statement, vision statement, and putting together what we as an organization feel should be our core values and tagline. We felt this was important for a couple different reasons. For a mission statement, it's really your core purpose, who you are. And we know working with the FO and in crew in general, they think the Nordecke, they think the brick and mortar stands. So we wanted to come up with a mission statement that was clear and concise about who we were as an organization separate from the brick and mortar. The vision state was important because that's kind of our future. It's specific, it's focused, it's where we want to be and where we want to take where we are now and how we want to grow. And then coming with our core values, just the importance of that is knowing that, like, when you come aboard like a Nordecke member and this, you believe in these whole things and it holds us accountable on all sorts of different things. For example, like when we choose to support community-wise an organization, do they fit within our vision and our core values? Hanging banners and stuff, if someone wants to bring one, does this something that we want to promote that fits within our mission, our core values, our vision, that sort of a thing. So it kind of spans across the board. We came up with everything, and the mission statement, the core values will be put on socials. We'll do an announcement for that soon. I did want to bring to the board members, because we do have, I needed to call for a vote. So I wanted to make sure we had all the board members here to vote on this, because the vision statement, we were deadlocked on one word, which is fantastic. So I'm going to read it to you guys. And then I'm going to I'll just call for a vote, whether it's vision 1 or vision 2. And if you need me to read it a couple times, I will. But the vision statement 1 is, and this again is kind of where we want to see us, like where we want to see ourselves, how we want to grow. Vision 1 statement is to foster a vibrant soccer culture in Central Ohio that unites crew supporters and strengthens our community. Vision statement 2 is to foster a vibrant soccer culture in Central Ohio that unites crew supporters and empowers our community. And as silly as it is, we nitpicked and word picked every part of the mission statement and the core values and what each word meant in the core values. So we were deadlocked between strengthens and empowers our community. So I would like for the board members, and again, if you need me to read a couple times, let me know, but I would like to put to a vote whether you would like vision statement 1 that says strengthens our community, or vision statement 2 that reads empowers our community. And Bethany is amazing and putting the 2 options in the chat if you need to see it written down.
Didn't we land on cultivate?
Cultivate a vibrant soccer.
Let me check the notes. 1 second.
From what I got in the notes and what I had, it was foster, but let me go back.
The redraft that I have shows Foster as the redraft.
We had considered cultivate until foster was suggested, and then that subbed in.
You know what? Let's go back to the drawing board and start the whole process again.
Bront, I will cut you.
If we were in person, I would throw something at you. So if there's no further discussion on it, then we would need someone to
Second.
Second. Thank you. Who was that said that?
That's Kurt.
Kurt, you want empowers?
No. He's seconding to open the motion so that we can collect the vote.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
As the member who suggested empowers, I am going to vote for the second one.
Okay. Brent, what's your choice?
I will also choose the one with empowers.
Okay. Curtis?
I will vote for strengthens.
Okay. Colin?
I'm going to go with option 2, empowers.
Okay. Emily? Or Trent, you can jump into.
Option 2.
Okay.
Option 1.
Okay. Okay. You, Brad?
Option 2.
Okay. All right. And Robbie?
Option 1.
Okay. And Courtney?
Courtney, you're muted.
Yeah, I asked her to unmute.
Yep. Sorry. Yep. Yeah, like I said, after having a couple days and rereading it a couple times, because I am that obsessive compulsive person, I am gonna change my vote and go to empower. So I'm gonna go with empowers. Sorry, strengthens people, I know.
Okay. So that gives 6 votes to empowers. So the choice is option 2.
Good work, everybody. Thank you again, Paul, for all of your hard work and help on this. Like I said, the mission statement, now you guys got a sneak peek in the vision statement, and you can kind of see how that went going over all the other stuff. We will put mission statement and core values out probably sometime after the game on Saturday, maybe next week sometime, or in the next couple of weeks when we feel it's an appropriate time to post that. So thank you guys. And I think that is all I have currently for my stuff right now.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. Next up is communications.
If it's okay with you, Bethany, I think I'd like to do this later after the other directors have had a chance to do theirs. This is more of like an open forum kind of discussion, and I don't want to hold up anyone else who might have just nice, simple updates.
Okay, I can move that down to open forum if you would like, or new business.
Yeah, that works because input from non-board members is also incredibly welcome.
Okay, do you have any other updates for comms?
Any other updates from comms? No, I do not. Thank you, though.
Okay. Next up is community.
Yep, I just have a really quick update. I think community had an excellent year this year. I was happy with the turnout. We had 9 different events. We had a couple different drives at tailgate and some online drives. We had a total of 60 different volunteers, 23 people that pulled multiple shifts. And I think it was pretty well attended. So I think everyone was pretty happy with what we did. I think it's a good, solid foundation for community moving forward.
That's awesome.
So thanks for everyone who came out and volunteered.
Okay, next is creative. So Brent.
Yeah, so we are in all likelihood done with big displays for the season. There remains one possibility for a home game. So we'll see, but chances are not doing any more big displays this year. That being said, do have some plans for the off season whenever that comes. Want to have some like organization days where we go in and just kind of maybe set the place up a little bit differently in a better flow, and have some free creating days where we bring in our current rail banners and touch up and repair anything that needs fixed, and work on some new ideas for rail banners and 2-sticks. So those are things that I'd like to do throughout the off season, so that because we have the time to do them ahead of next season. So be on the lookout for that schedule.
Cool. Thanks, Brent. Next is game day.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah. Sorry if I take up a little bit of time here. But yeah, really can't just speak enough about all the work the board has done, and the work from the volunteers, everybody that's helped with TIFO and banners, everyone that showed up to the march this last Sunday. Obviously the drums and the capos, and really just every single voice that was in that section. Really created an amazing experience and awesome atmosphere. I was lucky enough to be in the stand in 23 for the final, and it was pretty close to that. So, and if you've seen any social media recently, you've seen the posts, and people are just really stunned and amazed, and there's been a lot of good just everyone's talking really positively about Sunday. So that was really awesome. A little fun fact, 8 out of the 12 capos were ladies. So that was really awesome. We had a wide variety, representation matters, and we had really young to decrepitly old women on the stand. So that was really awesome. But anyway, I know I said last week was the biggest game. This Saturday ends up being the biggest game that we have. So I know maybe Kurt will probably talk a little bit more about this, but our kickoff will still be at Cobblestone. I was really briefly able to kind of talk with Ty, and I think the march will probably kick off about 4:45 from Cobblestone. I'd like for us to slow down a little bit while we're heading over there. I'm thinking we could have at least 3 stops along the way. That first stop would be that first major intersection. There's like a bar next to it, right next to that stop. I don't really know what the name of that bar is, but we can break into some renditions of, if you ever want a cup, while everybody kind of groups up again. I think a lot of times we get really spread out. The second stop would be right after the first turn, heading to the stadium again, so we can just kind of group up so that the final march to the front of the stadium, we can really kind of group up and really run through a gambit of chants before we head in. That really gives us an opportunity to be loud. It really echoes there. So I'd really like to be able to kind of at least go through a few chants before we go in. We do have capos coming with megaphones. We will have a couple of drummers out there, so we have an opportunity to really set a good atmosphere kind of going in before we go into the stadium. So, and shout out to the 200 massive plus people that are coming. We'll have flags and banners set up for the stadium. If you get a flag, if you're at Cobblestone and you get a flag, please hold on to that flag. Wave it as much as you possibly can. If you're on the bus, take it to the bus. If you see me, give it back to me. Leave no flag behind, please. Traditionally, we normally wear yellow for Cincy, so I don't know if we want to put out any information about that, but I know there was a question. I saw a question online from a member asking what colors we should wear. So I don't know if we want to make a statement based on that. But yeah, that's all I have. If Trent, Joey, Norm, if you guys have anything to add.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to add that tickets will be going out tomorrow. I just want to remind everyone that you're going to be receiving those from SeatGeek, and it'll say something like Dr. Pete wants to send you a ticket or something like that. It's caused a lot of confusion with the 2 Cincinnati matches so far this year. So be looking out tomorrow, probably tomorrow evening, for an email from SeatGeek.
Okay. If we have nothing else for game day, then next up would be merchandise.
Yep. So tomorrow an email will be going out for Nordecke Cup for the rescheduled date, which is November 16th. Same time frame as before. We'll send an email out to those who participated, asking them to just verify that they'd like to participate again, and then also would like to open up signups for those who would be interested in playing, so that way there are subs, or if there are not enough individuals to fill out the teams, the new individuals that signed up can be placed onto the teams that were there previously. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns on that?
Are we keeping this within membership?
That's open for discussion. What would you guys like?
I mean, I would say yes. This is a benefit of membership in this organization. So I think it should stay for members and not be open to everybody.
I kind of agree right now, just because of where we're at in the season with everything. If this was like the first round, we could potentially discuss if you want to pay to play kind of a thing, but members get free and that sort of thing. But right now, just with where we are, and this is technically a makeup day, I would say keep it within memberships.
Okay.
I just know we had mentioned throwing the idea out, so I just wanted to have that discussion before we move on and it comes up later.
Yep. We'll stay with members only for it. So I will put that sign up back out again tomorrow for that. Only other update I have is working on getting the membership kits put together for next year. Would like to have the 3 different options again, based on what we can come up with from the feedback from the surveys, the mid-season surveys that went out, and go from there. Again, trying to keep it low cost and affordable for the items that are in the kits, as well as just the overall membership itself, and trying to add value to the membership.
Question about that. I know it had been thrown out by somebody on Slack. I think it was maybe Colin, that we should consider doing the Saver membership before Christmas, so that people can gift memberships if they want, and it gives us revenue going into the new year. Any thought been given to that?
Yep. So there actually is, I would have a gift certificate available that people can gift out for the membership. Would be kind of at the, trying to think here. The Saver's good, but sorry. Yes, they can give the gift certificate out at the Saver level, and then whoever they give that to, that individual could then have the ability to upgrade to the next level if they would like to, and then just pay the price difference is kind of where I was thinking at in my head. And then one last quick thing, working with Supporter Supply to come up with kind of a hoodie, a Nordecke hoodie. I don't believe that there's one out there. I've reached out to Kevin to get a couple different designs, so just waiting to hear back from him on that. And we'll go from there, try to have some off-season merchandise for sale to generate some income in the off-season, as well as getting together with Colin. I know he brought it up in Slack about possibly having kind of a gear garage sale or whatever of Nordecke merchandise in there during the off season, just so people can kind of come in, shop, see what we got, and kind of have a off season clearance sale with everything, again, to generate that revenue in the off season. So we're set up well going into the next season. So Colin, if that idea is still on the table, I would love to work with you on that and see what we can get set up for that.
Yeah, of course. Always happy to work with you, pal.
And that's all that I have.
Okay, next up would be Ravi with partnerships.
Yeah, so for the away watch party this Saturday, it will be at Counterbalance Brewing. So I need to follow up with them on any messaging that they would like to push onto socials. Allison, once I get that, I'm going to follow up with James tomorrow, and once I get that, I'll send that your way. I have also asked Counterbalance to see if they would love to donate a percentage of the proceeds to a Nordecke community partner. They seem willing to. I haven't heard back on which one, so I will follow up with. That'll be part of my follow up with James tomorrow. On Friday, I will be picking up beer from Endeavor and from Counterbalance to take to Cincinnati to deliver to Cobblestone. And I mentioned to Curtis that we will have beer on the bus. He will be picking up beer from Land Grant to take with him onto the bus. And I may have some extra cases of Endeavor to take with me to take on the bus as well. So TBD on how many cases, but I'll notify the group. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Huge thank you again to Paul Kacharian for for doing the seminars that he did for us on the mission and value statement. And then lastly, while I wasn't there on Sunday, I have to say it was such a fun thing for me to watch all the way from up here, seeing how passionate and how enthusiastic all of you were, especially on the stands. To the crowd was amazing. And I mentioned this to Courtney, but Meemaw has a secret admirer here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. His name's John. He's 65 years old. So if she's available, I'll kindly pass the word to him.
Yeah, if we need more bus beer, I have several cases of Cappy snacks that can be contributed. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Rob, I didn't hear your closing.
Oh no, I was just joking. It was a joke. I was just saying, Meemaw has a secret admirer here in Ann
Oh
Arbor.
no, yeah, I heard that. I just didn't hear. You haven't said your closing yet, and I'm just wondering.
Oh, Yabba Dabba Crew.
Thank you, thank you.
Yabba
Okay,
Dabba
Robbie's
Crew.
done.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Wow, I put John ahead of Meemaw. I'm ahead of my Yabba Dabba Crew. No, sorry, Yabba Dabba Crew.
Thank you.
Okay, next is travel.
I have no idea how I'm going to follow that up, but let's see. So for those of you who have not heard, there is a game this Saturday. It's in Cincinnati. I don't think they've publicized it very much, but it is happening. Paco went over all of the March stuff. So the pregame stuff before that, we will have 2 buses provided by the club. We did have a request from members to add additional buses. Brad and I followed up with Ty to explore that possibility, and unfortunately, that is not going to be possible. So we are limited to the 2 buses, and we are appreciative of the club for providing those 2 for both games 1 and 3. We will be arriving at Cobblestone around 2 o'clock with the buses. Cobblestone opens at noon for anyone who is driving themselves. They are welcome to arrive a little earlier. We will be there fully stocked with Columbus beer. The same barbecue place that was there for the first game, for game 1, will be there again. I sent the menu to Allison about an hour ago, so I believe that's going to go up on social medias tomorrow. So you will be able to see the food that's available, as well as there's a lot of restaurants around there. So anything else that you want, should be plenty of options. Let's see, trying to think. And then after we win on Saturday, that will set up a next game in either Nashville or Miami. So look for future details about those 2 games. Am I forgetting anything? Anybody can think of anything with regards to Saturday that we're forgetting?
I know they were sending you a list, but parking for the buses.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Parking is available at the north lot. I will be there early, and I know several other board members will be there too. We have been asked to park as near to the stadium as possible. I believe there's a concert that night, and I think the staff working the concert are using that lot also for their own parking. So we were asked to kind of all congregate as close as possible to the stadium. I'll be there on Saturday morning to kind of help guide folks in.
Curtis, there'll be an email going out tomorrow with that bus information to all those that have a spot on the bus. I will make sure that travel and communications are included on it as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Brad.
Curtis, I'll be at the stadium early also Saturday, so if you need help with anything, just let me know.
I appreciate that, Paco. We will need a second. Paco, I'll probably put you on the second bus. We'll want to have at least 1 board member on each bus. So we'll divide that up. We'll have to figure out how we're doing check-ins. We'll probably do those because people didn't sign up for one bus or the other. So we'll probably have to do check-ins as people get on a bus. But we'll figure that out. I have a plan. We'll figure that out on Saturday. And Brad, could you email me a list of the bus signups as well, just so we can have that printed off and ready to go for Saturday?
Yes, sir. I can do that tomorrow morning for you.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's it from travel.
Okay. Next up is new business. First item is the 2026 elections. We are starting to try to get that figured out. We didn't really have much information, it seems like, passed to us from previous individuals that were in charge of it. So Colin,
Okay.
we're gonna try and work on that.
I can shed some light. Based off last year's schedule, which I just pulled up, Keeping if the same timeline is kept with as far as the amount of days for each portion, you'd be looking at a declaration period from December 15th to January 2nd, and then a cure period from January 5th to the 12th, and then a voting period from January 12th to the 28th, with the new board being seated on February 1st.
Okay, yeah, I've got that in here. I think I have that from one of the previous meetings too. I'm trying to learn more about the actual process of Flint. It doesn't seem like there was much in terms of documentation passed down. Colin put me in contact with Chris and Natalie on Slack, so hopefully we'll get some information from them there, but we'll see. But yeah, I am going to be starting to work on that relatively soon, and start getting some information out to everybody.
Bethany, this is Robbie. Just one more thing to note on elections is I do believe that we have there will be an event that we will put together. I think if I remember correctly, it was in January, either before voting, or it might have been after voting.
It was on January 19th, so the first day of voting is when the annual general meeting was at Seventh Son.
Yep. So I will probably have AGM back again at Seventh Son. And once we figure out a date for that, I'll reach out to them to book the venue.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Next is the 2026 membership marketing strategy.
That's me. Hello. Hi. I just wanted to bring up for general discourse and kind of a preliminary discussion on what the communications team in partnership with the other board members and board positions can do to reach more members of our community and strengthen our membership totals. We saw just under a 20% decrease in membership from 2024 to 2025. And I think there's some reasons behind that. And I think a portion of that is shared by communications and how we, whether ineffectively or didn't reach the intended audience or new people to Nordecke. I have not yet pulled the reports on the amount of people who are first-time members for 2025 and the amount of people that we lost from 2024 to 2025. But I wanted to reevaluate our communication strategy around acquiring members, retaining members, and doing a more like grassroots approach to membership signups. One thing that I think stuck out to me, that I think just kind of by pure happenstance played out this way, was that as a collective, I can't recall any specific event where we set up shop and kind of branded ourselves as the organization that we are, that's with our brand new mission statement that we'll be able to put out and everything like that. But I feel like we didn't meet expectations as far as meeting the community where they are. And so my idea for certain things related to those grassroots would be to potentially show up at farmers markets at different communities throughout the spring and summer, to show up at different events such as Pride and Comfest, which we have previously attempted to or have set up shop before, and really just to engage our membership and our potential membership where they are, and even potentially outside of the stadium before some games, maybe at Betty's or something like that. Yeah, so that's kind of my diagnostic of where the communications and the outreach strategy fell short for 2025 and played a role into those um, loss of members year over year. And so I wanted to, in year two, since we have more time in the winter to game plan and to strategize, to be able to hit the ground running when spring comes and not deal with so much chaos of getting everybody getting set up and getting up and running. And yeah, Paco, there was a lot of feedback. So not many there wasn't a specific question asked about like where did you hear about Nordecke? A lot of our feedback was what kind of content are you seeing and do you want to see more of it, less of it? And what kind of content would you prefer? It was more for the members who are already members and how can we better engage our membership? More so what I'd like to focus on in addition to keeping our members, because I do feel like we have a core members who are always going to be members, right? But also there are people out there who attend crew games who may not know that Nordecke is an organization that they can join and support as a nonprofit organization as well. And so to increase that awareness is something that I think the communications team can kind of spearhead and utilize different board members to engage ourselves. Yeah, like the Short North and Grandview Hop. There are a lot of examples of events that happen where we can be participants in that. And so I wanted to get in, just open the floor to any feedback or any ideas that anyone may have or any suggestions, because I really want to make sure that this winter we're gearing up to really be strong. Because right when 20,000 people enter a stadium and less than 1,000 are members of Nordecke, I think there's an opportunity to really engage crew fans and the community to at least become aware of what we're doing and then potentially get them a membership and get them involved in our community. So if anyone has anything, feel free to use the time now to fire off some ideas. I've got my pen and paper ready and anything that sticks or anything that sounds great, I'll more than likely reach out and see how we can roll with it.
Yeah. Hey, Colin, this is Kurt. One of the things I've been thinking about is I feel like, and I don't know how to accomplish this, but I feel like there might be an education necessary just to help folks understand there's a difference between the cement and the group. I feel like there's even people who are normally in Nordecke.
Is that me or is that Curtis?
That's Curtis.
Okay.
Brian, to your question about membership table on the plaza, we tried that, and unfortunately, the front office did not allow that because they don't allow any selling or anything up there on the plaza. And we've been told that plaza is for their corporate partners and partners that their marketing team feel need the space.
Do they not allow the fan council to have a table there though?
I do not know on that
They
fan
do.
council on that.
They do.
But
That's
fan
what I was like.
council isn't selling anything too, even with a QR code, that still breaks their Levy contract and they don't want us selling anything on the property.
We
So
don't
maybe
have
it's
to
more
necessarily-
informational than selling.
Yeah, we don't have to sell anything while we're there. We can just guide them to the About Nordecke page, and then whatever they do from there is on them.
One thing I will say is that when we did Nordecke Goes Green, I worked with Ty to get set up on the brick sidewalk just underneath of the overhang on the balcony for Condado. And so if we're not on the plaza, there is the possibility of not just ourselves, but potentially like our community partners being able to set up outside of the stadium. And so we're outside of the normal parameters of what they require us to work with. And we did that with Franklinton Cycle Works, Coda, and Yay Bikes. And so I think with enough heads up, we might be able to use that to also, engage a little bit with our community, like Mid-Ohio Food Bank and things like that, to give them an opportunity to also to use kind of like us as a leeway into being near and around crew fans and the community. So that is a good point. If we can't get on the plaza, there is still an option which we've been able to use as recently as this summer to be just outside of the stadium walls.
Colin, there's another idea. So not Saturday, but the last regular season home game, Upper 90 Club got a permit to set up, and they talked with Subco and were able to set up next to them in the Betty's parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
I bet if we looked into, and I could reach out to them about what permit they got and doing stuff like that, and if we talked with Morgan and Kevin and them, we could maybe pick out a handful of games to set up a Nordecke tent next to them with information and QR codes, and talk to Betty's bar and stuff like that, and set up next to them just for a few individual games and do something like that.
Yeah,
Because you're going to
100%
get all
agree.
that
Yeah.
foot traffic right there. You may not get as much going past that main entrance, but I mean, most people have to go past Betty's to go right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
I'm gonna try and go through. We have a few people that have had their hands raised for a minute.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Norm, if you want to go first.
Before I go, I just want to make sure that that Kristen's heard as well. She had her hand raised and then lowered it.
Yep, I
So
was gonna
before I
go.
talk, I want to make sure that she gets heard.
Yep.
Sorry, not good at this. All right. Real quick, being somebody obviously not on the board, but I'd like to think that I try to be involved. I don't know if a lot of people know, I've been around, I'd say a couple years, but I've been around the crew since forever. Everybody just assumed I was brand new because I was that outsider that didn't realize that basically the Nordecke was more than just a section. Um, I don't really have ideas other than I agree, setting up places where, like go out to the community. But I have heard people say, what's the purpose? And I'm not sure how far you guys can expand the benefits outside of access to away tickets and, a membership kit and, a couple events here or there. But I think that that's like the biggest thing I've heard people say, well, what's the purpose? Why pay this extra amount of X, Y, and Z money when I have access to the same things anyway? But definitely for me, it's seeing more people out there spreading the word like, hey, if you see us, you can be one of us. You can't just, you don't have to watch from a distance. And I guess like that's my biggest thing is kind of like promotion. And because I know people see like the Facebook group, but let's be honest, there's a lot of stuff. I'm just going to call it stuff that happens in the Facebook groups. You have the main one and then you have the Nordecke discussion board. Well, there's lots of discussions, and I know that that can also sway people. And obviously, you can't tell people what to talk about. But I do think it kind of ends up making people think, well, if that's your philosophy and I don't agree with it this way or that way, it kind of can create some disinterest as well. But that's just like kind of like my perspective, like, from my side. I'd like to say, obviously, I enjoy every one of you. That's why I come around. And that's why I choose to be a part of it. But, some other people may not realize that they can also be in my position. So just kind of like an outside perspective. I wish I could give you like more suggestions, but I'm just here. I'm present. That's it.
That's really good feedback, Kristen. I really appreciate it. I think a lot of us, if not all of us, would agree that we're constantly looking for ways to add membership benefits that kind of separate us from just like a ticket intermediary and a middleman, and to really provide a community benefit and a membership benefit to members that makes it worthwhile to join. So I know a lot of people are brainstorming that. We haven't really solidified anything in solid conversation, but that is awesome feedback that we can definitely work with. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna hop in and follow on that a little bit and something that Brent was saying, which is so Brent was saying, can we do a QR code that will drive people to the website and we'll communicate that? As a part of the mission statement this week, I got to looking around different supporter section websites. And I think while we do some things really well on our website, we don't particularly do a good job of communicating what the benefits of being a member are and what membership goes towards. And I think we can do a better job foregrounding that so that when people first interact with our website, whether it be to get tickets or some other reason, they know they can more easily find what we do and what the benefits are of being a member of the organization.
Robbie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had a little bit of feedback as it related to partnerships in that regard, where we had some people not sure where to find the partnership information on the website, or they may not have known. People said that they knew that they had benefits, but they didn't know where they could redeem them. So, kind of playing into that from a partnerships perspective, it seems like there are people who are out there who are members who may not have who may not have been able to navigate the website, or like Norm says, the website is not constructed in a way or set up in a way to where that information is readily available. And do I remember that was reflective feedback in your partnership surveys as well?
Yeah, and that's accurate. I think the one thing too, and I one of the things I wanted to see if we could do, and maybe we could do this next year, is I think to access your Nordecke card, your Nordecke member card, you have to go through the website. You can't access it through the app. So I would love to see if there's a way to be able to access the digital card through the app, and that way, anytime a Nordecke member is at a is that a brewery or is that a restaurant and looking to redeem a discount, they can go ahead and do so with access of the card through the app. And I think that was one of the challenges that we've had, and something that I would love to see that we could do next year too.
Yeah, definitely. We can work on. I can help you work with that. No problem.
Looks like Ryan, you have your hand raised as well.
Hey, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So a few things. The concourse, whatever, I forget what the name is. I'm drawing a blank. If we could set up right behind the Nordecke, I think that would help sort of drive up our numbers for those that are going to be sitting in that section who may not know that there's a difference between the section and the group itself. So if for whatever reason, being out in front of the stadium is a problem, or, that there seems to be some big hurdles to do that, we might want to explore going kind of behind the stadium and at least get the people in our immediate vicinity the information. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is a while ago, and it was on me and it didn't really go anywhere. But we had talked about, and I don't think it was with this board. I think it was with the last board. We had talked about sort of a short series of videos that were, here's, what game day does for the Nordecke. Here's the behind the scenes of community, right? Just really quick, like a couple minutes long, think like, I don't have TikTok, but like think like that sort of form factor of just, trying to drive more of, hey, we're not just, it goes a lot more than just showing up and yelling, at the games. Game days there at 9 in the morning on game days to set up banners. TIFO's there until super late at night, making sure that we can, get an awesome banner for these big games. And so it might be an idea of kind of showing, hey, this is what we are outside of just the 90 minutes on the pitch.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
Want to make sure to call attention to the chat. I think something that kind of got skipped over. Emily asked about maybe looking into an auto renewal with the ability to opt out. Has that been explored, or what would it take to do that?
It is something that can be looked into. I would have to work with the webmaster on that to kind of see what options there are. I don't think it will be hard. It's just a matter of looking into it and just saying, hey, when your membership expires on this date, you're automatically renewed into this one at the same level. But yeah, definitely something that we can look into, and I will make a note here to reach out to Brian tomorrow and start looking in that process.
I think if that were something we do, that would have to start. I don't think it would be necessarily fair to auto renewal this year into next year. Just because of timing and people like that. But I
Correct.
think that could
Yeah.
be an option for the end of next season to auto renewal into 2027.
Yeah. There's also still a little bit of pain from, I think, the Cleveland game and being stuck in an auto renew and then that getting announced afterwards. So I think if we're going to do that, we need to be super transparent about the why and the how of opting out as a because there are a lot of people who are really frustrated that they couldn't opt out of the Miami game. And I think that I don't want us to be a reflection of an opt-in, opt-out situation like the front office is, where it's bad as opposed to a net good, But I think it's a good option. I don't think there's any harm in it. I just think it'd be hard. We need to make sure we separate the two feelings. Sorry, Norm, I know your hand's raised.
No, I had a different track entirely, going back to something in chat. This is more towards Brad, but when we were able to table this season for the Kappa event, did that drive memberships in any meaningful way? I know we were able to sell some merchandise, but I didn't know where we sat on memberships after that.
We only got revenue from merchandise. There was no one that stopped by to sign up for a membership, even though people that stopped by the table that were not Nordecke members, it was talked to them about the membership and kind of the different things that are offered with it and the perks of it, but there were no new members gained from that event.
Thanks for that.
I had a question with, I know there used to be QR codes that would take you to the chants on the website. Is there any reason, like, would the FO allow us to put a QR code on the capo stands that just goes to the About Us page for the Nordecke so people know what we are?
If I recall from the QR codes getting posted, and Norm, Trent, or Paco, correct me if I'm wrong, I know it had to get approval from the FO about where it went to. So if we're taking it just to the About Us page, I don't see an issue with that. But again, I think we'd need approval since it's being posted inside the stadium.
Yeah,
But also, we talked at the beginning of the year just having QR codes in the different sections, and Ty said he was going to do that, and I don't think that ever actually came.
That's correct. I recall that. I think we'd asked them to put like some kind of little placard into the different entrances into Nordecke with a QR code that says, hey, learn about us, or want to know more about the Nordecke, scan here. I do recall those conversations.
No, because it was going to be around the rest of the stadium, and it was going to be entrances for the chants.
Yes. Yep.
And that, of course, never happened.
I know it started out putting the chants on the video board, but it was maybe for like 5 seconds. And by the time you got your phone up, it was gone. And I hadn't seen most of those the later half of the season.
Yeah, I think the conversation for anything on the stand would have to be approved by the FO. That's usually how anything that's put up there has to run through him.
They needed more time to sell the fly swatter thing, so they had to remove us.
Well, and I also think like, if we do get approval for a page, I wonder if we can make it somewhat more dynamic.
Yep.
Because I know that we have situations where like, I mean, our website's pretty static. So if we were able to highlight particular chants on a given day, that's with our current stuff that might help, but we would kind of have to be more active collectively on that ahead of time. If we get about us, it would be nice to be able to link to, if we have a TIFO that day, make sure that a link is prominently featured to what TIFO Sweat has done recently or whatever. I don't know if that would throw a wrench in getting approvals, or if it's one of those things where we get approval initially and then we, move some stuff around and that's not a huge deal. But I think if we do get a link, we should not be afraid to adjust it to make certain that the message of the day is foregrounded.
I have a similar question to Norm's a few minutes ago. Did we see any membership sales as we approached decision day and we started getting toward closing access to playoff tickets?
Yep, there was maybe 20 memberships that came in as we got into decision week. Pretty much after the trade deadline, memberships got pretty stagnant, and we're getting one or two here and there. Nothing really to write home about, even during decision week. Kind of knowing where we sat in the standings and whatnot, there was not many memberships to come in.
Kristen had her hand up again.
Does anybody know like somebody in media who can like put together like a little article just kind of explaining in less detail the ins and out of Nordecke, to just like try to be like, hey, there's all this. I know it's like, where are people going to read it? But sometimes people are willing to read more if it's like during like a major event, like right now. I mean, I don't even know if that's an option. I just know they're sitting there right now and they're bragging about how we're the loudest fans and whatnot. Then why not try to work off of that and see if they're willing to put out some type of article explaining the the in and outs of the actual organization rather than just the section.
We do have some contacts in the media. I think I mean, I think there are two tiers to that, right? Like we have like 10 TV and ABC 6 and NBC 4 and The Athletic. We have some that might be a little too big of a picture for that kind of engagement. But then we also have like Upper 90 Club and Massive Report and Aces Radio, where we have somewhat of a relationship, or at least are closer and more involved in the community, and especially with the crew, where we might be able to try and work on sponsoring their podcasts for episodes every now and then, or working with them to promote their media content better on our website in exchange for a 30-second ad break where they say join the Nordecke, stuff like that. So we can certainly explore avenues in media where crew fans already are. I think a big problem with that we might run into is that, Bront, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if people who are listening to Aces Radio are probably already super familiar with Nordecke, and so we'd probably need to hit like a very nice middle ground of like the dispatch or something like that, where it's enough that it hits the community that are aware of the crew, maybe don't know about Nordecke, but don't have but aren't already engaged completely, or already know about Nordecke, and could learn about it for the first time. And so I think there is a middle ground that we could identify. And I think that's a good point.
Yeah. First of all, let's not call Aces Radio media. All right. That's just nope. um, but yeah, I think you're right in that people who listen to something like Aces Radio, Upper 90, Massive Report to some extent are probably more familiar with us than most people. Um, However, maybe an A race article, you might be willing to do a piece. So yeah, there's some options there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's definitely more like what I was thinking of as like something in writing, or at least something that opens up the discussions. Like if somebody did know, they can just like write a small article. Because I figured, with obviously with Upper 90, you have to know about Upper 90 to even go listen to them. Like they don't just pop up. And then, but if people are just reading a section of the newspaper about the crew, then maybe somebody could be like, let's pop something in about the Nordecke organization in general. Or small stuff. If for some reason somebody is not a member but does already kind of know about the stuff, at least could you guys do some type of thing where they make announcements, even if it's just the giving back to the community, or hey, we're going to be doing this week, come out and see, go out and see the board, or go out and see members, hang out, bring your family, bring your friends, let's grow the community, stuff like that. And I know they're probably not going to try to do stuff for free. Nobody wants to sit there and act like an ad, but if they care enough, they may be willing to at least throw it out once a week, or if there's something bigger going on. Just my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one thing to say about that, and then Norm, I apologize. I'll make sure I give you the floor. One thing that makes it difficult is there's an opportunity for reaching people who care about the crew or know about the crew, but may not know about Nordecke, which is via the front office because they have a Rolodex of, much larger than our own. And they'll do everything they can to avoid giving us credit for anything. They won't tag us, they won't collaborate with us on social media. Um, it's it's beyond difficult to get them to even acknowledge us in the smallest regard. If you go through their social media, they'll say our fans or this section, and it's really difficult for them to want to call Nordecke what it is and work with us. And I think that without pinning everything on the front office and kind of harping on that, they are an inhibitor to what reaching an audience that shares a collective goal. And yeah, they have fallen completely off the ability to be a partner, um, and are pushing into territory of like adversary to us engaging in our audience and stuff. So just to make that point, sorry, Norm, go ahead.
Just a real quick note, once Norm's done, Rick also wanted to say something. He just doesn't know how to raise his hand.
Sorry.
Okay. So real quick, this is for you specifically, Colin. So Comms has done a great job this season posting all sorts of things that we do, from community efforts that Emily's headed up to Tifa sweat projects that Brent headed up, to just our general week in, week out stuff, etc. Nor on tour. But I wonder if there's an opportunity there to embed, and this would require more work, I acknowledge that, to have an article for each of these things on the website that would allow us to link elsewhere on the website from that. So if you get a Tifa Sweat project pushed to you on social media and you see the pictures and then you are like interested, you could click on the link and it would drive you to our website where you might have a particular you might have a good interaction and decide that you want to either go back to the website or eventually be a member. We might convert a certain number of those people. Whereas I think right now our social message, like the things we do, is making it in front of people on social media, but not in a way that's any sort of directing them towards things that might get them more involved with the organization, at least as directly.
Yeah, definitely. I understand what you mean, and um, that's something that I plan on doing inside of the structure of the communications team this winter is trying to get more than just myself and Allison involved. So we have extra hands to take on those projects, or maybe even having someone focus specifically on social media, and then someone's focused specifically on the website and emails and outreach and stuff like that, just to broaden our scope and to be able to take on more asks and more requests. And so that's one of my big goals early in the off season is to identify a larger comms team to be able to meet these requests, and then work on additional lifts on top of just the, you know, constant social media cycle once the season starts.
All right. I am a literal paid professional in Teams, but I am not a professional in Zoom. So thanks for bearing with me. But kind of along those same lines as what Norm just mentioned with Colin, my path to the Nordecke was kind of word of mouth in the stadium. Um, I'll say on the one hand, I think that obviously it's very important that we're advocates for our group at the stadium, that we're trying to bring people into the fold. I also think of example that I can't remember his name, but the guy that comes down here from Pennsylvania, his experience with us, it is what kind of led him to really get even more involved than he already was. So on the one hand, I say obviously it's an important thing that we're an advocate for ourselves, but on the other hand, obviously that's what's bringing people in. So we're doing a pretty good job at it. Next piece was, that word of mouth brought me to Tifo Sweat. And Tifo Sweat's really where I got to meet the team, understand all the things that the team's involved in. And that really is actually what pulled me in to become a member. Um, so, when I think of the NAGB project and the kind of video that the Flavor 91 Bistro put together for us. That's an account with 16,000 followers. And I mean, a lot of pop. I don't know what it actually turned into traction, but pointed in the right direction, as Norm said, hey, this is the kind of cool stuff we do. This is the stuff you can get involved with. I think that driving more of those types of posts, that could be a big win for us. So yeah, it is. Here's what we do, and here's what we're offering in the moment. But also here's how you join and get involved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the top, I didn't super expand on it, but that like grassroots approach of like being in the community and engaging our partnerships and our community partners and stuff um, in a way that is beneficial for both us and them is something that I think we'd definitely like to expand on, and that's something that we can leverage to our advantage. That video was awesome, and it was one of the best pieces of media that came out this year that highlighted who we are and at least what we look like and stuff like that. And so, yeah, definitely there are opportunities to be more involved into, well, I guess not necessarily more involved, but to be more active from a communication standpoint, from a membership standpoint with our partners, and driving them business, and then giving them a reason to reciprocate that, and to highlight Nordecke as a part of their partnerships as well. And so, great idea. It's definitely something that the comms team is gonna try and work through.
And I'd add to that, that's something that Brent and I can work with, right? Like we're going to be putting together more projects, doing more things over the winter. I think that, maybe myself, I can make more of an effort to capture some of that so I can pass that on to the comms team or whoever is better at editing videos than I to get some, different media. It kind of gives that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think one thing that's really important this year that hasn't so much been um, called out specifically is continuity of the board. We had a lot of turnover last year, and when we didn't have turnover, we had people assuming new positions for the most part. And so starting in February is a huge crutch compared to being able to start in November, December. And so even having just 2 months of not having to worry about tickets or TIFO or other things gives us a significant advantage to be able to strategize and to plan in a way that we didn't so much get the chance to do last off season. What's up, Norm?
So just thinking about things that we can put out there that can help grow our membership. We have this really great network of partners that Ravi's helped develop, and we have every game in away watch party. But I'm trying to think, I can't recall, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know how often we've actually captured media and sent out, pictures of people at these watch parties. And perhaps when we do have watch parties, we should try to have some sort of signage there to direct people who maybe are crew fans, passively didn't know it was Nordecke watch party, to connect with the organization.
Table stands.
Yeah, I agree. We transparently, I don't think we did any like live on the ground posting from watch parties, which is a place where the communications team certainly fell short. Yeah, that's great feedback. That's something we can do not only to show what it looks like to attend a Nordecke watch party to people who may be watching from home and we're kind of on the fence about attending, but also a way to boost our partner awareness of our partners as well, and to throw them an extra bone in terms of engaging our audience with their branding and with their hosting and things like that to invite larger partnerships or give them a reason to support us when we go ask for things like support for Nordecke Cup, which Robbie's done before, or those other ad hoc asks that are difficult. If we can engage our partners better, then I think those asks might come with a little more weight if we're out there really throwing ourselves into those partnerships, and as opposed to just like, thanks for the beer, see you later. That's something the communications team can and should be better at next year.
Well, it's also not something that necessarily has to fall solely on your shoulders, right? Like with I was thinking about an idea that Curtis had, and I think we were trying to implement it this year, where if you were on Nor on Tour, to submit photos back from your Nor on Tour experience. And if we could crowdsource some of this, right? We can ask people who are at watch parties, I'm sure there are board members who are frequently at watch parties, etc. But even like just our general membership, if you're at a watch party, you submit something, we have enough mugs till the heat death of the universe. We can make it worth people's while to help us crowdsource this. You know, we the more we do that, we can bring in the raw tools that you would need to get it out there.
Yeah.
It looked like Courtney had her hand up, but was struggling to find where it was.
I'm sorry. I'm panicking and I'm just like, you know what? There, emoji. Okay. Another thing, and it sounds really silly, but I've talked with Morgan about the idea before, and I know they'd be willing to do it. But if board members, senior leadership, deputies, people like that got t-shirts with QR codes on the back and wore them out when we do volunteer, not take over the volunteer shirts, but when we go out in the community, when we're at games doing stuff. It sounds silly, but if you're out and about and you see someone wearing a shirt with a QR code, curiosity killed the cat. Someone's gonna pull up a phone and scan the QR code and see where it takes you and see if they're gonna get Rick, what's his name, or they're gonna take it. And that is an idea because QR codes do work. So that is an option too, to think about where you would want that to take you to, having that head page and why, really catch people, engage their interest.
Nordecke street team. Bring back the street teams from the 90s.
Yes, but don't call it the street team because Ty had a street team. He also had an energy team, and I don't want to call it anything like them.
Colin, to your point, I think it's an interesting thought on a beer mug for but I struggle with the utility of it, just in the sense of I imagine most places would want to physically wash them prior
Yeah.
to use. But if we did produce a beer mug, I bet it would sell well.
Not glass. Okay, so you're thinking more along the lines of the Comfest mugs, which fun fact, I'm a collector of. I have like 1,000 of them. That's entirely what my cup drawer is made out of.
We could even find a way to distribute the mugs, and at a watch party, whoever our partner might be for that watch party, have these coffee mugs there and have a specialty cocktail or specialty drink that is in the mugs that individuals purchase, and they can keep that mug for afterwards. And while they're there, they get, I don't know, half off the refills in that mug or whatever, just to kind of, hey, kind of a little novelty thing of specialty drink while you're there at the watch party. And then I have this mug, and now I remember it. If I'm not a member, I'm like, oh, how'd I get this mug? What's a Nordecke? Let me go find it.
So, real quick before we wrap this section up, I was just looking at the website and there is no about us page, description, anything about the group anywhere on there. The only thing there is an FAQ.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to flag earlier.
Let's see, Rick's got his hand up.
I just wanted everybody to know I figured out how to put my hand up. Sorry.
Okay.
Show off.
Is there anything else with this section?
I just want to say thank you all for the feedback. This is something that is going to be a top priority of the comms team over the winter. And it really helps me understand like what kind of personalities we're going to need on the comms team, and what kind of asks we'll be asking of anyone who might be potentially interested in joining. And so I got a lot of great solid feedback here, and I just really appreciate everybody chiming in and throwing out ideas. I think there's a lot to work with here, and there are a lot of ideas that I think are really viable. And so I just appreciate everyone's effort and thoughts here. So thank you.
Definitely to circle back, there is an FAQ, and when you click on it, it takes you to Nordecke FAQ or Supporters HQ FAQ, and there are different topics on there. Like I've heard the word Nordecke thrown around a lot. What does it mean? What's the point / perks of being a Nordecke member? The chants seem hard and confusing. Where do I learn? I'm new to a crew. How do I get involved? What are supporters groups? What is Nor on Tour? What is TIFO? Different stuff like that.
I mean, I think that those are all really great things to have on there. I just think it's odd that we don't have a page that's specifically dedicated to just about us. I know we didn't really technically have a mission statement before this week, but
Gotcha.
it seems like that's kind of a thing that we should focus on trying to make sure we get added, because I think it's weird to me, at least, if I was not a member, to scan a QR code that's supposed to take me to something that explains the organization. And like, does the FAQ technically do that? Yeah, but I don't know that that's exactly what we want to be sending possible new members to.
Oh, no, Bethany. Au contraire, there was a mission statement all the way back from the crew union days, and it, quote, promote soccer in Ohio and elsewhere, unquote.
Fair enough.
I did
So
put some, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go first. I've chimed in a bunch.
I was just saying, I wanted to say that when I did the merch for the Pride Parade, we had, I think it was like 1,500 pieces of giveaways, and we put a QR code that directed people to our website on every piece of thing that we passed out. So I'm just wondering if there's any way to track, like if there was any kind of increased activity after that, or how, like, I don't know how the social media and the store works. So I don't know if we could tell if something like that might have like brought anything in or not.
Yep. So anytime there's a new order, I can look at the orders and it tells you where it originated from, whether it was from Google, from the website, an admin set the order up. So there is ways to check to see where the orders came from. Yes.
Or like, so like a timeline to see like if there was like an increase in kind of anything after that event.
Yep, most definitely can. There are ways to track to see, hey, this event, and if we passed out items with a QR code on it, did we see an increase in traffic, both just in site visits as well as were there an increase in memberships? Was there an increase in merchandise orders? That can all definitely be tracked and extrapolated out.
So the ask for Emily's case would be June 14th or 614 day, I believe.
Yep, I can pull something together. I'm making a note. I can pull something together from around Pride and get it out there and kind of show you or let you see if there was any uptick from that stuff being out there, as well as the different things. If there are any other dates that you want looked at.
I guess the other thing that comes to mind is how many memberships did we sell in the lead up to the Hell is Real lottery, and I don't have a date for that offhand. The regular season Hell is Real home match, I should be specific.
I'm making a note of the two things and I will provide those.
Thank you. I want to follow up on one thing real quick. Apologies to Brent. I don't want to start hate week when it's not hate week, but I did link in the chat to Seattle Sounders supporters group About Us page because I thought it was a particularly good About Us page, both in how brief it was and how it quickly called attention to who they are and what are the benefits of being a member, even if I don't sign off on everything they list as membership benefits. So apologies to Brent for invoking hate week.
I think you mean Hat Week.
So does anyone else have anything to go under new business?
I just wanted to roll out that, I did Brad and Ravi and who else needed to be involved. I was contacted by that business owner, Hugo. He runs a business here. I sent you all his email. I wanted to work out some sort of partnership with the Nordecke, so I just wanted to just make note of that.
Yep. And Paco, thank you. I will send an email. Brad, if you're okay, I'll send an email to Hugo tomorrow and CC both you and Paco.
Sounds good.
Okay. If there is no other new business, if anyone has anything for the open forum. All right. If not, then the meeting is adjourned.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Alex.